Okay, so it was a pretty interesting weekend with the bees. My wife went off and got a pair of new queens, so we're gonna see what happens here. We're gonna do some installation and everything. But let's kind of jump into it here. So the hive on the right here was the used to be the original queen, and she swarmed and twice now in the past year, and she's ended up in the hive all the way on the left. So these three hives are swarms and splits that have happened over the last year, and all three of them made it through the winter. And this spring the queen decided to swarm again. But for some reason, after making through the winter and everything going really well and actually seeing queens and things like that, they either swarmed or left, or something happened to the queens, or who knows. But these three hives here, right in front of us, are queenless. So gave them some time. I thought they'd produce a queen. There was lots of queen cells. It looked like queens had gotten out of their swarm cells and everything. But at the end of the day, there's no eggs, no larvae. I went through these, I don't know, 3 times in the past week, and here I am checking it once more, just to make sure there's no eggs in there, no active queen. But at this point, there's no new brood being produced, so it's time to do something about it before something crazy happens. So I've been through the rest of the hive. I'm not going to bother trying to check the bottom deep or anything like that at this point. I'm pretty sure there's no queen in there. So I put the new queen that we just got up on top there. We'll see if they like her. There's probably a million ways to do this, and I'm probably doing it all wrong. But hey, we'll see if this works or not. So just putting the queen cage up there and seeing if what the bees right around her have to say. If they like her, they might be curious. If not, they might attack the cage. Who knows? I've done a bunch of reading, but hard to say, I guess. So it's kind of, and also I don't know if I'm even doing this right at all. These are Carniolan queens. The original bees were Italian, so I mean, who knows? We're just gonna see what happens here. I've been through it feels like a lifetime of beekeeping in 12 months. So it's getting kind of crazy. I just wanted one hive, and now we're up to 4, and who knows. But yeah, these 3 hives seem to be queenless. So the idea is install new queens in the ones on the end, and we're going to take the middle hive here, which has always been a pretty weak hive in general. It was one of the swarm hives from last year, and combine that with the hive all the way over there on the left. So get back to 3 hives and see what happens. The hive over on the left is the original queen that I bought a year ago, from my original queen, my original colony, and she's been fantastic. So haven't bothered to requeen or anything like that. Maybe next year we'll see what's happening. Here I am kind of checking out these ones. And this one right here, there's nothing on this side. I should have turned it around, but on the other side, there's it's a kind of a frame full of honey. So I'm gonna shake them off, and after all this work, let's bring in a frame of honey and I don't know, have something to show for all this effort and cost and everything. So we'll try to harvest just a frame for now. But they're bringing a lot of honey, but I've heard queenless hives tend to do that. They did leave a bunch of space on the bottom. They're putting honey in and leaving open space, just like they would if the queen was laying and making brood, but there's just nothing in these, so time to do something. So same with this, put the queen up there and see what happens. Give them a few minutes to, I don't know, see what happens there. But that hive on the left has always been really, really aggressive. I got stung there already. Just probably didn't notice in this video, but one got me right on the wrist, and it was just for no reason. They're coming out buzzing, and they don't like you poking around too much. So hive on the right here that I'm in right now is just they're completely lethargic. That's probably how they live through the winter, but just didn't care. So we'll see what the new queen ends up doing with them. So trying to put the queen cage in here now. I took the plug out, so in a couple days I'll eat through the sugar plug in the cage and let her out if they like her, and hopefully not kill her or anything. And just squeezing the frames in here to put the cage in there. So I'll probably go back in, I don't know, sometime later this week. It's been a couple days already, but I'll probably give her closer to a week and just clean everything out. They'll probably make some burr comb and all that kind of stuff. But and then the super I'm putting back on top. I don't know if that's what I should do, but we'll see. So have to send a thanks out to a friend in town. When the hive swarmed earlier this summer and I was able to catch the original queen, they had a hive they weren't using, so they let me run over and pick it up. It's one of these flow hives, and I don't really know what to think about it yet. I put it on top, and the bees never really got up there. They haven't been interested. They haven't made any wax or anything like that. So I had the queen excluder. You kind of see that down at the bottom right. Between the brood box and the flow hive, and I finally figured it's just time to take all the queen excluders out and just toss them and see what happens. The bees just aren't getting up there, so I don't know if they're gonna like it. I don't know if they're gonna use it. I put it up there just because there's a lot of bees in that hive, and I thought there was a queen there. But we'll see what happens. It's kind of nice. There's windows. You can look into it and see that there's no bees. So it'll be interesting. So let's button up this hive and move on to the next. So now we're gonna try to combine two hives, which I've never done before and have no experience with. So, but they're all buttoned up there, and there's new queens. Let's see what happens. So here we are at the hive that was over on the left there, and this is the original queen. She is just fantastic. I mean, always perfect laying patterns, just highly productive bees and everything. I put this, they swarmed a little while ago. I put in blank frames. All the frames are completely filled with like wax and everything. I put in a super. They're putting in honey. I mean, this is like a month since they swarmed, and they're just going great guns. Really fantastic. Which is probably why she keeps swarming, because I just don't give them enough space. So the idea here is I'm going to take that weak hive in the middle that was a previous swarm and try to combine it with this one. So right now I'm taking the super off, taking all the bees that were in this hive and just dumping them into one box, which they're probably way overcrowded. But that's the only place they can go. So I'm not going to do anything crazy here. But yeah, they're putting lots of honey and nectar and all this kind of stuff in that box, so they're going to want to get back to that. And it's just more bees and more bees and more bees and more bees. But they've always been really good. And try to get them off the top a little. At this point, they're already getting pretty agitated. They don't like what's going on. They were doing their thing, and you can see them now. They're just pouring out of the front of this thing. There's probably no room left in there. They're all over the back of the box. I'm trying to just get them somewhere. And they spent the entire night on the covering the front of this box. So I don't know if there just wasn't any room or what, but they were unhappy. And yeah, it was just a mess. So let's get some newspaper. We're gonna put this down. They kind of just move out of the way, which is nice. And I'm not doing anything special here. Never done this before. Just know this is how you're kind of supposed to do it. And we're gonna take the other box and put it right on top of here. So let's bring that back over. But they're just all over the place. So this is in comparison, this is the center box, and there's really small hive. There's no brood left in there. There's not much in there at all. They're taking up, I think, 3 or 4 frames. They're in rough shape. So instead of requeening them, I was like, they're small enough. This hive is big enough. Let's see what happens here. And in addition, let's take these 2 supers that I have for honey and let's put them on top and give this hive just plenty of space. So hopefully they combine and they can start making honey and actually doing stuff, and I don't have to worry about them. So get those frames back in there. So the top hive has a little bit of food, a little honey, nectar, and all that kind of stuff. While they're working to get through the paper, and hopefully they don't fight too much and all that. And button this one pretty much back up, except I'm probably going to remember this in about 2 seconds. There we go. But there's still a frame over here that put this bottom board and shake all those bees into there so they know where they're at. Really like this bottom board. I'd like to reuse it on this hive, but I'm not sure I'll ever be able to get this hive off the ground again. I built a little stand for it, but that's a nice screen bottom board I got last year, and it's actually really handy. So I'd like to put it in this one. The bottom board on this one isn't screened, so. But there they are, all buttoned up, and I guess we'll kind of see what happens from here. So, like I said, there's probably a million ways to do this, and this is probably all completely wrong to anyone, but we're gonna let them do their thing, and hopefully it works out. So, but, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see what I can do about answering them.